I was born in Velasquez Plaza, which is west of Trinidad, Colorado.
And when?
Oh goodness, you want to know when I was born?
Yes.
I was born in 1940 in the month of December. I won't give you a date.
Okay, that's all right. What about the camp area at that time, and the schools, and also the neighborhood churches? What were they like?
Okay, well, when I was born, I believe they called it Velasquez Plaza. Okay, and I believe my aunt and a couple of ladies from the neighborhood built a church at that time, which is called the Guadalupe Church in Medinas. I don't know. These are just stories that my parents passed on to me. And then I don't know from there, what happened by the time when I was born till the time I was like 3 years old.
Okay, now at that time, did they celebrate, as you grew older, did they celebrate the traditions, that were around that time, like Christmas and Easter, that kind of thing? Did they celebrate
Yes, yes. During Easter, they had like a procession at the church. Everybody get together and pray and go around the church, and they had a big celebration for Easter. And during Christmas, they did a lot of that. And most of the younger generation, which they were probably older than I, would go out house to house asking for Christmas and caroling, and then the people would get together like at somebody's house and have a big dinner. And it was really nice. The Christmas trees were made, like you and I went for Christmas trees, but they did all their home decorations.
Yes. What about the closeness of the community? Did everyone live close to each other at that time?
Yes,
Okay.
they lived very close. Everybody helped each other. Some had a little farm, maybe somebody had some cattle, but when it came to harvesting, everybody helped each other.
So did that mean, like, if the farmer across the road had extra work, that your family would go and help him, or
Yes.
like that kind of thing?
Yes, everybody helped each other. If they saw the neighbor was having problems with the irrigation ditch or something, these men would go and help with the ditch. It was never like I have to ask for help. People were willing to help. Women were always helping each other with the children, with the laundry, whatever had to be done, because they were so close together, and there was so little to share that they just did it.
Okay, so did they, at that point in time, did they have to haul water to wash and wash clothing and grew gardens and
Yes.
that type of thing?
Yes, they hauled the water from the river. They had like a steep bank, and I guess the men or whoever made like steps, and women would go down there with buckets and pull water out of the river, and they heated it in copper kettles, so there were like barrels or whatever they call those things, tanks. I call them tanks because it looked like a tank. But they all, like the day they washed, women all washed at the same time because it was too hard to haul the water up the bank.
Okay. Now, so they had their own garden, so they grew fresh food?
Yes.
Vegetables, things
Yes,
like that?
everybody had their own little gardens. But when it came to harvest time, everybody shared. And when they did corn, they harvested the corn and they took it maybe to the people that had the ovens, and they baked their corn in those ovens. And they made bread that same day, and maybe butchered a lamb or something and baked it at the end of the day in that same oven because it was always hot.
Okay, so it sounds like they took advantage of doing things that helped each other on the same day.
Yes.
If this was going on today, okay, we know that we're gonna go there. Is that what that means?
Yes.
Because that sounds like a good thing.
Well, it's like your grandmother and my grandmother. When it came to baking bread, the neighbors all would bring their dough over to Grandma's house where she had the oven, and they'd all put their bread in that oven. That was the day they used that oven,
That was the Orno?
the Orno.
Yeah, okay. And school, let's go to school. What was school like? I mean, was it one neighborhood school with one schoolroom? How was that?
Well, I went to several schools, you know. The first school I went to was at the reservation, and it was only like for a year. And then my father came to Colorado, and I went to school in Medinas, which is now called Primero. And it was a one-room schoolhouse. I don't know how we got there, I can't remember, but I remember the schoolhouse. There was one teacher, and there was a lot of benches, and we had chalkboards. That's how we studied, I guess.
Yeah. And so how did you get to school? On horseback, or was there a bus?
You know, I think they had a van. I guess it was a van, a truck with some boards on the side, and they picked up kids along the road. I don't quite remember that.
Okay. So you had to be waiting like you do for the bus today
Yes,
at a stop.
yes.
Okay. And work-wise, well, let's do education first. Your education, where you got it, and education and family.
Well, when I went to school, like I said, I went to school in Albuquerque. Went to Ramey. I was probably maybe in the first grade. Brilliant, I don't remember what grade I was in Brilliant. Came to Colorado and went to school in Medinas. I think it was third or fourth grade. Then went to Sarceel School. Maybe it was fifth or sixth grade. And then from there, I went to a school which was called Primero. I graduated from Primero and went on to college, and here I am.
You are, after all this many things. And you married?
Yes, I married. I was married for 29 years and been alone for over 40-some years.
Children?
5 children. Yes.
And what do they do?
Let's see. My oldest daughter works for Michelangelo's in Texas. My other daughter lives in Denver, and she was working for Columbian Copy and Printing. I have a young son that works for the police department out of Arvada. I don't know if he does maintenance or he's an auto body man. My other son works construction, and my youngest daughter passed away several years ago, and she worked for United Bank.
That's quite a size family to raise.
Yes. I ran a ranch for my in-laws for 29 years.
Tell us about the ranch work, the ranch life.
Well, it was kind of, I guess it was fun. I had horses. My husband always was out working, like at Vermijo Park, and I stayed at the ranch with my in-laws. And later on, we moved into the little town, which was called Segundo. Raised our children. They went to school in Primero. And I continued working at the ranch, with the children. I guess it was hard, but I didn't realize it was hard, It was something we had to do,
And the children learned the ranch work?
Yes, they all did. And they all graduated from Primero. And I still have a son that goes to the ranch, takes care of things up there.
So you still have your ranch?
It's not mine. It belongs to my children and the rest of the nieces and nephews.
And you like the work, it sounds?
Oh, I love the work. I love the ranch work. I miss my horses. But I chose another road and went to the city, went to Denver, and got some more education and got my nursing license. And I was live-in housekeeper for a very wonderful family. And now I volunteer at the nursing home.
You do a lot. Now, what about community work? Because I know you do volunteer work, community work. any organizations or that type of participation?
Well, I like to help people. I never really join, but I go help. But like I say, I do volunteer at the nursing home. I have several people that I knew from the valley that are there, and I go help feed, and just kind of keep them company.
Now, you lived in the coal camps. Did you have to live in company housing, or if you lived in the coal camps anywhere, did you have to live in one of the houses, or your parents had their own place, or?
No, we lived in a company house, and we lived in Rainey. We lived in a big company house, which my other uncles also worked in the mine. And then when we went to Brilliant, I think we lived with my aunt because they had a house. And then let's see, when we went to, gosh, there's so many. I don't remember where we lived. We probably lived in a company house. I know it was close to the railroad track, But all the uncles worked in those mines. And as they closed or they went on strike, they went to another mine.
To another camp.
Another camp. And the last time my father moved to Morley, and then they were opening the Frederick mine, which is the one in Valdez, was the Valdez mine. He worked there till they made the Allen mine.
Okay. Did, with regard to traditions and all, did the family get involved in any of like the penny pimpers and that part of the religion?
Well, I believe my grandfather and some of my uncles belonged to that society. My father never did, but my uncles did. And they had, I think, a morada there in Sarcio, and they had one in Tijeras. I guess that would be called, I don't know, it's just above Madrid, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
I've forgotten about it though, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was not part though of your traditional kind of life.
No.
It wasn't, not that, and it wasn't for everyone. But how do you think our community has changed, Trinidad and Los Angeles County, over the years since we haven't had mining since it's been a while now?
Well, it has really changed because new people have come in, and some of our old ancestors and our maybe brothers or sisters moved away. So they lost out on what's happening or what happened into the little towns. There's a lot of new people that live in our little villages that we had. I don't know much about it because I don't go up there much. And Trinidad has really grown, but I guess we're all getting used to the new ideas and the way people live. I still live old-fashioned. I still do. I still do everything the old way.
Yeah.
But I noticed that some of the young generation are interested in learning, but there's no one to teach them. If there was someone to teach them how to do these things or what to gather from the mountain or the riverside or whatever, they would learn all this herbs and stuff that was available then. But there's no one left to teach them. It has got lost. It has really got lost.
So there may be a need for that eventually, or I don't know, but that's what happens when we break the cycle, and we don't keep it up.
Yes.
And how do you think that would be important in terms of if they had continued or do continue?
It's very important because children today won't know how to survive without this electronic stuff because they don't know how to do anything manually. Like you and I and our brothers, we learned it from our parents and our grandparents, and I have tried to teach my children. Some of them are interested, some of them aren't. One of my great-grandsons is very interested. But if someone is not educating these young children, it becomes that there's no power. How are they going to survive? They don't know how to heat. They they don't have no power, no electricity. It's going to be very hard for them.
So it'd be something worth learning.
Yes, I think there should be someone teaching them the old way, even though they say, oh, it's old-fashioned. But the old-fashioned is going to come back, because if all this power goes off the grade, where are we all going? You know, there won't be no place to go.
I know, Bea, that you like living off the land still,
Yes.
and you have your garden, and I know you believe in that kind of work life too, and so you still maintain that?
Yes, I still do. I still plant all my teas and herbs. I plant a garden. I harvest at the end of the summer, you know, my squash and my beans and peas and whatever I can. You know, I try to plant a little of everything so that I can save it for the winter. And I always plan to put it in jars, you know, to keep them fresh. And now with the modern days, you freeze it.
Yeah.
But I still dry most of my stuff. I still make jerky.
Yeah.
I still make jerky outside. I don't use a dehydrator. I use a little clothesline on my porch, and I'll dry it for like a week.
Nice.
I'll have to bring you some someday.
Okay. Well, everything you've brought me today is good. It's been good. What did the miners back then, if there was time, what did they all do, families, for recreation in the community?
Oh, they had picnics. They played baseball. They played bocce. You know what bocce is?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, they got together like on Sunday afternoon. The men would get together and go to somebody's yard, and they played baseball and bocce, and the women would get together and crochet or embroider, pass along what they had learned that day or what they had made over the weekend. They also crocheted their pillowcases. So they stayed very busy, but mainly on Sundays after church, they would go to somebody's house for lunch, and then they would play games.
Everybody get together.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like fun. Okay, did you ever have any younger brothers or family that worked in the mines? Like little guys?
Well, I had one brother, and he worked in the Allen mine until he got hurt, which was many years later. And he loved the mine.
Did he start it early?
Yeah, he started early. I don't remember how old he was. I know my dad they had closed the Valdez mine and opened the Allen mine. And I guess my brother, right after graduation, no, I'm wrong. He went to the military. He went to Vietnam, and when he came back, he got a job at the mine.
Okay. But not as a little guy?
No.
No, okay. Okay. Bea, if you had something, no, I think I want to go back one step back. In your years growing up, did you meet a lot of different, when you were in school, did you meet children of various nationalities, or even where you came from and up to the point to when you got here? Different races
Yes.
here?
Yes.
And everybody, everybody in the community get together? And
Yes, they all got along. Because when we came to Colorado, to the Segundo Valdez area, there wasn't too many people that you would call, I mean, they were all Hispanics, Italians, Slavish. I do remember there was only a couple of families that were different than the rest of us. There was 2 black families, a Filipino family, and 1 Mexican family. I mean Mexican, that they call Mexican, like from Mexico. He came and married some Spanish woman from the area, and he worked in the mine. I remember them because they became friends with my parents. But nobody ever thought about prejudice. You know, everybody got along. So I didn't know what prejudice was, because I played with everybody. And I was like a whole family.
In school it was the same way?
Yes. For me it was.
B, if you had anything to offer, any, whoever this history will be exposed to, it will be exposed to, any advice, any words of wisdom, hope for the future, any kind of something like that?
Well, if as the parents, at my age, I think this younger generation should really have a hold on their children and find out where they're at, what they're doing, and be a little bit more strict. But since the new judges and lawyers came out, they don't want you to correct your kids. They call it abuse. It's not abuse, it's correction. Kids need correction, they need education, and if they could listen to their grandparents, then they would know what it is to be a respectable adult when they grow up. Right now, these kids don't respect each other. A brother and sister get in a fight, there's no respect because the parents can't stop them. So I think if there was some way that the Lord would open their hearts and say, okay, I'm going to be the parent, and you need to do what I say because this is what's right. What you're doing is wrong. But kids today don't listen to what's right or wrong. They think they're always right. And I feel for this young generation. I feel for my great-grandchildren because they live in the city. They don't know how to survive in the country. They won't know how. So with the grace of God, I hope this young generation will finally open their eyes and see that they really have to put their feet down and correct this young generation so that they can become better parents. The children will become better parents and things will go back to normal. Right now, these children are so confused, I think.
That makes sense. That's what we hear a lot too. Okay. Well, thank you, Bea, for coming and being part of this whole history setup, and appreciate your knowledge and, all the things that you've been about, the work that you've done, the people you help all the time. I'm happy to know you, and glad you're my cousin, because I'm proud to say that you do a lot of good work.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and you know that I'm always here to help you. If you ever need anything or want to know something, because I'm from the old days.
We're getting there. We're the old ones.
I'm the old one. No.
The oldest one.
I'm the oldest one from the community, I think. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope that I answered your questions.
I've got one more question for you. What's the most memorable thing you can think of about your father's time in the mine as a miner? Is there any particular story that he recounted about something that happened, or something about that you might want to share?
Okay. When my father worked in the Valdez mine, well, I don't know how many years he had been working there. There was a gentleman that used to do sketches for the mine. And they always said that women should not go into the mine because Mother Earth would get upset. Well, there was 3 or 4 women that went in there, and I can remember my dad saying their names. And right after those women came out of there, they started having, what do they call those? The mine kept falling down, They kept having disasters in the mine. So he always remembered that. He said, women should never go into the mine because Mother Earth doesn't want them in there. And one time he came and he was soaked up to the knee with, where he had been kneeling down digging coal, and he had to push this buggy with the coal uphill so they could dump it over the shaft. And he said to my mother, you know, if I was any younger, he said, I would have got a better education and not gone into the mine. But I'm too old now. He said, I've been working in the mine since I could remember. And I will work, he says, till I can't work anymore. And he did work for like 42 years. And when he went to work at the Allen mine, he was too old to work. So they didn't hire him. And he retired and became a cowpuncher for Vermijo Park. He was one of the last cowboys that worked at Vermijo Park. Because when he retired from there, they got these ATVs, and that's when they started running cattle with ATVs. You know. But my father was a hardworking man, and he was just somebody everybody knew.
I have one last question. Can you go back and tell us again which reservation you started on?
It was the Apache Reservation, which
Yeah.
where my ancestors all came from.
Okay.
My grandparents and some of Yolanda's parents came from there.
And you moved then from there to?
We moved into Albuquerque and we stayed there, and we moved to Velasquez Plaza, Molino Canyon, and we lived in all these little mining towns along the way, and we settled in Segundo, where my dad worked in the Frederick mine till he retired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.